Alright everyone, it is cleaning day. We got a special episode today for you. My dad doesn't like when I say episode, but we're going to go with it anyway. So yeah, today we're going to go through pretty much the whole shebang of a cleaning thing. Kind of giving you some tips of all the inner workings of a pellet stove. We're going to be demonstrating on a Harman Accentra today and kind of highlighting a lot of the daily, the weekly, the monthly, and the yearly aspects of cleaning. So you can clean efficiently and you don't have to, well, I guess you can't really over clean, but at the same time you don't want to under clean. But we just want to give you the most optimal advice that we can. So anyway, Dad, take it away. I've had way too much coffee.
Well, it's really good. Don't fast forward yet and just stick with us. But again, this one here, this one was just turned on and turned off and filled with pellets and used day in, day out. And unfortunately, this one is extremely dirty, so we're going to break it down. We got a good one for you today, like usual. But this one here, we're going to talk about kind of some of the things that kind of grew in here over time because this was not maintained. So we'll kind of get to it. So yeah, you'll need just some various things. I mean, obviously a shop vacuum. So here, if I may,
go for
this is just a regular shop vacuum, and you want to do it obviously when the stove is cold. But Briggs, what's the other one we have over here?
We got an ash vac right here. There you are.
So this one here, I mean, they make different ash vacs out there, great and dandy, but they're tinned and they have different filters in there, so you're not supposed to catch fire, but they're pretty good. But this one here I like is the Ash Vault Pro by Pellet Head. I think it's got double filtration, it's got more power. We did a video on it, and good golly, it did the pellet stove, it did a wood stove, it did it all. So anyway, you need a vacuum cleaner, and we'll slide that over. Put that over there. And then we're going to go through some various tools, and so, scrapers and different cleaners. Like Briggs, explain some of these cleaners if they need them.
Sure, yeah. Most of the time if you're doing regular cleaning or maintenance, a lot of the times you could just do, simple day-to-day Windex. Doesn't have to be the actual brand name, can just be generic brand name. Get it from your local convenience store, grocery store, anything of the sort. For the real hard, like baked on stuff that you might see on your stove, you could get actual glass cleaner, stove specific one. So if you got really just heavy duty, grime, anything, the carbon deposits, this stuff's pretty good. Now if you really got a lot of buildup, like a lot of the creosote, the gunky, sticky black, kind of all that just baked on stuff that are just real dark inside the stove, the creosote remover stuff's pretty handy stuff. And so that's just a few of the chemical stuff you can get to. As you see when we're going through this cleans, you'll see more of the actual tools, different stuff we recommend. You don't have to, but a good old nitro gloves will save you some,
I would.
Yeah. If you get your hands all dirty and everything else and you try to grab paper, just trust us from us, going from stove to admin work, not always the best thing. You can also grab one of these dust masks. These are pretty handy if you're getting in there with a vacuum, a brush, everything, and that's going everywhere. For us, we're in the field a lot. We don't like to build up the whole coal miner's lung thing, so we like having these on hands. Paper towels, also handy. Shop towels, whatever floats your boat. And Dad, what other scraper tools you had in mind? Brushes and stuff?
Well, we're going to use like a paintbrush. I'll show you as we go through this on this particular stove, but you can use the same techniques on other types of stoves. And obviously wire brushes here, and putty knives, things like that. I mean, I doubt I used the torch on this one, but in a last ditch effort to make this stove extremely safe for you, your family, your friends, if you have the same situation. I'll explain that towards the end. That usually works. And so anyway, as usual, follow along with us here.
One more thing before we go.
What did I miss?
You forgot the full piping thing. Why don't you just introduce that before
I
your side over there.
Well, we're kind of going through, when you're cleaning the stove, yeah, you're going to do this, 1, 2, 3 times a week. within the cavity here, but once a year, at least, as far as that's my opinion, you want to clean out the piping. So usually on the back of the stove, you'll have like the 3-inch pipe, so it may be going vertically from the back vertically up, or it may be going horizontally through the wall. But you want to clean all of the ash that accumulates around the circumference. You want to get that out of the stove. And so Briggs, you've got a really, really good point. So these are 3 or 4 footer lengths, but here's your 3-inch pipe brush. So these are just going to basically screw together to where you can extend the lengths of these. And so basically you want to just go through your piping and just scrub just a few times in the shop vac and just clean it out. So you want to do that. So you can get these kits. I don't know, you can get it on our website if you want to. Pellet Head's another good one. Ace Hardware is another one. Just some ideas to help you, your friends, and your family save some money. So what?
And these ones,
what did I miss?
Well, they're pretty cheap. They're pretty inexpensive, and we recommend the flex lines because these ones, they're more flexible to get through the twists and bends. So if you got the 45-degree pieces for your pipe or the 90-degree angles, these things can get through there. And if by hand is not alone, why don't you pick up that drill right there? A number of these pipe sweepers, you can hook up to a drill too. So if you really need to get in there, going up, going out, pulling it down, you can go from the top down to up. Very versatile versus the, what is it? Is it the fiberglass ones that are really rigid and stuff? Yeah. So those fiberglass ones are pretty good, but if you got twists and bends and turns and everything else, get the flexible one. They're very similar to the dryer vent ones. They're just more built heavier duty for stoves. So I think that was the whole information dump. I think we got to start getting more hands-on now. Next things, what do you think?
Well, let's get on it. So we're going to open this thing up, and every I'm going to switch sides with you.
Sure.
We go here. Okay, here we go. So
but
anyway,
wait, there's more.
Yes. So anyway, you got the paintbrush. Can you grab that?
Oh yeah, sure.
So this is the ash pan. So usually this one here is like overly loaded. This is absolutely disgusting. This should not happen. So anyway, it's best to take the ash pan outside and get rid of the ash. But here that we're in our shop, we're just going to go ahead and dump it into this metal bucket. So anyway, I'm just going to dump it out. But my gosh, look at the...
Now you can kind of see all the dust and everything else.
So this, usually you can use a vacuum to do this. And so basically, Briggs, if you just take this behind me.
There.
And
it's all in real time. You can see all the stuff.
We're just going to kind of go through it. So you just plug it in over there if you could.
Yeah, got you. You're all set.
So basically, we're going to get to a lot of this here, but we're getting to this ash bin here. And so that's why you may want to wear a mask, but you just kind of go slow, but you're still, look at this, you're still going to get it.
Yep.
So
Gotcha.
if Briggs turns on the vacuum,
Nice thing going when you're dealing with a lot of ash and dust and stuff. If you have the vacuum constantly going while doing this, really cuts down at just going everywhere in your house and in your face and everything else, and less coughing. So that's a plus.
There it is. So very well said. So this is too much. Too much. This is, so if you do it once, twice, 3, 4 times a week, just dump this pan out, and it's pretty clean now, but it's not clean enough. So basically when I'm outside, I'll basically take a paintbrush.
Well, real quick, let's readjust our tools and then we'll show them more of the close-up so they can really see it.
Okay.
All right, stick with us. All right, that's a lot better. All right, proceed.
Are we good?
Yeah.
Okay, so when you have this outside, you can take a regular paintbrush and just, you can kind of see here, I'll just go slow, but you want to brush down. So I'm going to brush all this crap off, or garbage off. and hit the front, hit the handle. You can just kind of see, you get it. We're just, but take the time, really do it, and just clean it, get back to it. Here we go. Look at this. This is garbage. And I know if you do this a few times a week, you're not going to have to get to this extent. I mean, this one is really going to be clean, but I'm just going to get all this. And so, on the bottom, and like so. Now inside, you can still see here, there's some accumulation. So, if you just take it there, guess what? Another bonus is, I always like to have at least these two tools. A little paintbrush and a putty knife. And so, in here, I can take the putty knife. I think we can get it right there. And you can just do a little extra effort. And just clean it. You get it. So, I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to get in here real quick. And then you get it. Just do a good job. And this ash pan will last a long time as well. So, I'll just dump it right here. But, my gosh, that was just the ash pan. And I get it. So, Briggs, you can look down on the floor here. This is why you want to do it outside. I mean, you don't want this all over your flooring in your house, etc. like this. So here we go. The next thing is you want to brush everything down. And so on here, what I would do is I would get a piece of cardboard, or you'll have a hearth pad underneath your stove, but just something underneath it. Even like a front doormat, something like that. So when you're brushing down, you can also use the vacuum at the same time. I'm not going to do it now because it'll make a lot of noise. You want to brush down, and you can see exactly what's happening here. I'm just brushing down. And so I guess I could do it both ways, and so this will get out of Briggs's way. But you can see this when I'm brushing. This vacuum is pretty loud for the video, but when you brush, you want to use the vacuum at the same time. So just get in there, and you can see, you can use it right in here, but you want to brush. And you can just brush. Everything on the pellet stove, brush down. Brush down. Now let's just do the window. Not bad. But brush down. And just work on this door. So everything is still not good enough. So you get it. But this stove is to the extreme. And so if you have one of these stoves, I'm sure most of you take very good care of it. And so when you clean, you just want to brush everything down. So my concern on this one here is the reason why you got these carbon deposits that built up is when this ash pan was in there and the pellets, the burnt pellets or half burnt pellets were dumping into this ash pan. What happens is that the heat in there, it's like a smoker. It's almost like a pellet stove smoker grill. So smoke just sits in there. A lot of it will go out via the exhaust fan, but a lot of it just sits in there and it just sticks to the firewall back here. It's mainly the door as well. And it accumulates. So keep this ash pan dumped out through the week. And so we'll take this. Now we'll see, Briggs, but I don't know. This one here, I know we'll get some of it off. And so
I'll be satisfied.
This will come off. But sometimes when you get excessive glazing, like you would see on a piece of pottery, that's when you have to get a little bit more aggressive. But be careful with the window here. I'm just using a putty knife, friends. And so this one here is not bad. It's coming off pretty well, but if you take it to there, you can see the sparkle and the sheen. So if you see that in your pellet stove, get rid of it. I don't know if you can get it right on the sheen there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so that's a good example. So you want to get rid of that. So I'm going to try this. Just stick with us. It's like watching a movie, I guess, but not as entertaining. But I'm going to try a wire brush here. So I'm going to use a little elbow grease right in here. Looks like some of that's coming out. Be careful of the glass. You don't want to break it, scrape it. Very expensive to replace. So you get it. So you want to get all that off, and I'm using a wire brush. Now back to where Briggs was showing you is, I'll put it a little closer because I don't think you saw it in the beginning of the video. There's creosote remover, and you definitely want to wear one of these masks. It's recommended, and definitely hand protection, and most importantly, read the caution labels on here. But if you use this, you want to make sure you have something underneath the door so nothing drips down onto your hearth pad or your carpet or your wood floors. But some of this, it can be used that actually will break up some of those creosote or carbon deposits. Some people have used vinegar, gone that way, and that has been somewhat successful. That's another way to clean it. But I think the putty knife, the paintbrush, the wire brush, if you can steer away from chemicals as much as possible, I think it's just a healthier way to go. You don't have to inhale it. Even though if you wear one of these masks, you're still going to inhale a little bit. But anyway, hopefully you won't get to that point. So we'll get to the next scene. I'll show you when I get done with this door, just using the regular scrubbing techniques. Okay, here we go again. Now, cleaning the window, most people clean their pellet stove windows, well, about every other day. And I would keep them clean because it's nice to see the flame, etc. But over time, as you can see, Briggs, if you can pinpoint in there, you can see here's the buildup, and the paintbrush I used got some of it off. But I'm going to first try just regular Windex or vinegar and water, or water and a paper towel. So again, before you do the cleaning, you don't have to spray it right on it. You can spray it right onto a paper towel so you don't have things dripping. So I'm going to take this here and I'm going to swirl it. I'm doing a swirl technique, and you can see there's the residue. So I'm going to spray more. This residue is actually a good cleaning agent. You just have to scrub it. So I'm going to go around in circles, but I can see right now I'm going to run into a little issue. And the issue is, over time, I'll just turn this around, kind of speed up the process here. But most of the time, like down in this area here, if I use this ash on here and I scrub back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, I can get some of it off. But this one here has gotten to the extreme. It's gone above and beyond.
AKA lots of elbow grease.
Yeah. Well, this is, if you clean your window, once or twice, like every other day, take one paper towel and some Windex or vinegar water and scrub it. Set this paper towel aside. Take a second paper towel, spray a little bit of vinegar water, Windex, etc. on it, and then you'll be able to buff it and clean it, and you're done. Now this one here, over time with the heat, this is baked on here. And I wouldn't recommend using a razor blade. If you do, that's your call. But you have the risk, or you'll have the risk of scraping your glass. So if you had a brand new razor blade, you better make sure that this is super wet before you use a razor blade. That's the last extent. What I would do now is we'll go on to it. So I'll be Mr. Safety, and I don't really like to use this glass cleaner, but I'm going to, because it's going to break this down. But you're not going to have to use this. If you clean your window every other day, you won't have to do this. So I'm going to spray this directly on here. Let's see if this stuff works. Briggs says it works. So
there's a little bit of patient games on here, because sometimes you may need a little time of letting that kind of soak in too. That does break down.
okay, back to this. It's slowly coming together, but you won't get to this extent again if you clean your window every other day. So what I like what Briggs did, and actually with this brand, I know we're not endorsing it, it's just it's there, or we didn't get it for free. Briggs would take a little bit here and paper towel underneath it, and then he would just kind of let it sit.
And kind of do slow swirls, everything. You gotta just work it in there and kind of just slowly get at it. It's a patience game. It's kind of a little art form, but you just slowly do swirls, you let it soak. Like I said, when it gets to this extent, you have to do, well, a lot of elbow grease. So you might have to keep doing this whole rinse and repeat method.
So we'll let it sit and see if this area here will come up. We'll just do a little swirl. But yeah,
better.
It's getting better. So anyway, it's the soak, patience, and then swirl. And so, well, you can see, you won't get to this extent, folks, unless you let the window go.
And like you mentioned previously, using the still dirty rag has the previous ash and buildup already on it. So it kind of acts as an extra way to kind of help get the rest off, right?
So we're to this point here, and we're going to let it soak again, and then we'll show you the final product. So yeah, Briggs, that technique worked great.
Hey, just like that, glass is pretty clear.
Yeah, this is really, really nice. So from here, if you just clean your glass every other day with Windex or vinegar and water, and just it'll be really easy, and you won't have to go to some of this cleaner. But again, this cleaner works better if you just let it soak a little bit on the bad areas and then use the swirl technique, and it'll come off. But that took us a little bit of time, but wasn't too bad. So anyway, got that done. Now this area down in here, you can see here, this is the overfill from the ash pan that goes in here. I don't like any of this. So basically, you see everything here. Things are going to be kind of silent, but I'm going to get in there with the vacuum. But what I want to do is always, like what Brett and Briggs do, is we paint down. So here's my brush. So I'm going to paint down, and you can see a lot of this is coming up. Now, and here I know usually you'll get some that come out. Watch the air, you can see it. So get that area up in there. You can use a paintbrush or use your hand, but you have to have a vacuum cleaner going at the same time, folks, because it'll get all over your house. So anyway, I'm going to paint down. Here we go. Paint in here, and you get it. So I'm going to go down, but I want to get these panels out, because this panel comes out and this panel comes out. This one does not. So I'm still going to clean. This here is the flame deflector. Just go ahead and just remove it, set it out of the way, and just paint down, down, down. Now I would be having my vacuum cleaner on for sure. But up in here, you can see it, Briggs. Let me get a little bit more. I'm going to get this vacuum cleaner on because we get a lot of dust here, so bear with us. for it to breathe a little better. So, up in here, can you... Wow, I just did it. So, anyway, I'll point with my finger here, or my thumb. There's a hook holding this. If I push up on this hook, this comes forward, like so. See that? So this is just leaning just like that. Now, Briggs down here, I'm going to grab this, I'm going to lift up, twist it, pull it out, and I'm going to set this one down, because I know I always put things back exactly the way they were. That's the left side, and obviously we're going to do the right side. So anyway, same thing. There's a clip up here. You push up on it. This comes forward. Take this out. This is my right one. So this is the part here. These are actually your heat exchanger tubes. That's where the heat is coming up these tubes within these, and it's coming out here. Well, look, all the garbage back there that's accumulated. So when you keep it clean, the tubes get hotter and you get hotter air that comes through. So anyway, I'm going to keep breaking things down. I'm going to see if I can break these apart. Briggs, can you get this? This part right here, see? This thing moves up and down. I think you can get that. Okay, we got that one. And there'll be one over here. It's right here. A lot of times that these get seized on there. If they do, use 3-in-1. Use WD-40. What's the other one we use?
PB Blaster.
PB Blaster. So these are still pretty loose. So this is going to be covering. Look at the ash build up here, Briggs. This is not what you want, folks. So anyway, you want to do this deep clean like we're doing here behind these heat tubes. If you heat your home throughout the year, I would go back there every 3 months and clean these, or as per manufacturer specs in the manual, but just common sense dictates. Take those plates out, make sure that these are clean. I'll show you. But here, I'm going to bring this latch up, and the same on the other side, latch up, and this is going to come apart. Now, what you want to do is you want to take this whole apparatus here where my hand is. You want to get all the way to the left, as far as you can, right? Into the left. When you do, make sure it's all the way into that left pocket. Then you can remove this. And you can see here, this is the exhaust housing cover, and good golly, it's just, this is really, really bad. So we're going to set this down. You get it. So in here, if you could, Briggs, we'll get the old flashlight. So this reveals your exhaust fan blades. So this is called an impeller or a fan blade, however you want to call it. But anyway, as this turns, the exhaust, you can see here, that's the back of the stove where your pipe is, that your vent pipe. So you want to keep all this super clean in here. So that's how you take that off. But I'm going to go back up to this. And again, this will just give you a guideline. These heat tubes, they give you a tool. It looks like a spade. It's a piece of metal you're supposed to scrape down. That thing doesn't work worth a dang, in my opinion. I just use a paintbrush, and you can see here how nice I can get that metal finish. So I'm gonna do this.
Fancy.
I'm gonna keep just, I'm gonna go at it, but you're gonna want a shop vacuum right here on, just having the tube just sit there.
Now really quick, let's give them a good close up there. See the difference? Just swept, not touched. Big difference right there.
So we'll come back when we're done. Okay, folks, so you can see these heat exchanger tubes, they have a metal tool. I don't think it works too well, in my opinion. I use a paintbrush, so you can see on both sides all the way down it's clean. So I've brought everything down to this part right here, and there's a little bit left in here, but you have to, like this one here has got a little bit of creosote built up right in here. So I'm going to use my putty knife here on each side of this ash pan or burn pot, and then you got everything here. So what I'm going to do, I want you to see how much, I mean, in creosote, all this crap here, garbage, and the next scene I'm going to have this all cleaned up, and I'm going to also take, I think we can do it here, this fan, I'm just going to go here and I'm going to use my paintbrush and I'm going to clean off these fan blades. Be gentle with it, just clean them off and make sure that every one of them is cleaned like so, all the way around in the center. So then that's nice and clean. Now I'll spin it. You can see that's the way it works. And on the next video, or the one after this one, we're going to show you how to replace one of these puppies. And sometimes they're easy and sometimes they're a train wreck. So we see on the next scene here, I'll have all this cleaned up. Okay, down here, Briggs. See if we get some light or whatever. So you can get it pretty good. There's a little bit of creosote here, not bad. Just take a wire brush and you can, I want you to see this, and then you can take out the rest of it. But if you keep tabs on some of these stoves like this, you won't have those carbon deposits if you manage or take care of your stove weekly. So there you go on that part. And so here we're going to put this crazy thing back in. Remember, this is going to go far as you can into that left corner in order to clear this. So I'm going to go all the way in, all the way in. See this now? Now I have enough space to bring this in.
Perfect.
Now the two holes where my thumb is, I'm going to line them up. Is it going to go in and be my friend? Yeah, that side. And then that side. Now both this nipple and that nipple are lined up. And so I'm going to bring this lever over and tighten it down. Same thing with this one. Tighten it down. You get it. So important to keep this clean, folks, throughout the year. And going back to my panels, you're going to bring them in. And at the bottom here, there are two slits. They're going to fall into place before I bring it up. So I'm going to bring this in. I'm going to bring this up. And I'm going to put them right in the bottom there. I got those two slits in the bottom, and that's holding it. This will fall forward. Okay? It's not done yet. So Briggs, if you flash up here, I'm going to push it forward. This right up in here, I'm going to push down.
Oh, I'm pointing at it again. Right there. Perfect.
I'm going to push this down. And that holds this in place. And obviously we're going to try to expedite the right. So just bring it in, bring it up. Make sure those nipples in the bottom are in place. Right here, 1 and 2. This will hang. Then I'm going to push this in, and then push down on this lever here. Yeah, it's going to hold it in place. And there you go. So the last thing we're going to do is talk about the importance of this burn pot. So on the burn pot below it, there's two wing nuts. And if these don't come off easy, a lot of times they don't, just take a pair of pliers and just loosen them lightly. So I'm going to take this off. So all these holes here, ash falls down in those holes. It also drops over this edge down into your your ash pan. But a lot of the ash goes down in these holes, which drops down by your igniter. That's what I'm doing here. I'm going to unscrew this. I'm going to take this plate off. There's a little bit of ash there. I'm just going to let it, I'll just dump it here, it doesn't matter. So I'm going to set this part aside. Now, if you look in here, Briggs, where I took that cover off, this is your igniter. We'll do a video on the igniter coming up. But all that ash, a lot of it comes down into here. It's really difficult to get a vacuum cleaner in there deep. Unplug your stove at this point, because a lot of times I use my finger, and what I do is I just you could have a very small vacuum tube that would get in there, but most people don't. So I just take my finger and I just make sure that all that's just cleared out of there. When it's just cleared out just like this, you also realize that air is coming in here up through those holes. That accelerates the flame. So you want all that clear. Then take your vacuum and you can do it. You know, we have a kind of a small one here, hang with us, but you can see here how much came out at the bottom of that burn pipe. Good golly, so we'll just take it out. You can take your vacuum blanket here and go back and forth. Just let it sit there because it's actually pulling a lot of the garbage out. So I'm good with that. I got good airflow. Then I'm going to go back up here and this hillbilly thing. So the tool that they give you with the Harman, there'll be a spade on one end and a square on the other end of the handle. And right here on each side, as this V's out, will build up. And so you want this, I'll smooth this all the way down. So first, throughout each week, what you want to do, any type of small tool will work, but you want to make sure, I'm just using a drill bit here for examples, is, I'm going to go left to right here, you just want to make sure that each hole, just go down each hole. There's one row, 2, 3, and there's more here. Make sure that all of these air holes are clear because that's where the air comes up and accelerates your flame. Now let's go back to this last section here. This, I'm going to try to bring this down. This is absolutely perfect. I'm using my hand here so it will reveal what is happening. Right here, this is all creosote or carbon deposits. This is all buildup. I need to get this broken away. And here, this should be smooth. This isn't bad on this side. I'll use this tool. Let's see if this will work. And I hit it. It's not really going to hurt this side. Not bad. Now this is tough because I want to get this out of here, but this is in my way. I can't remove this, so I'm going to take it. Watch it. Wear some gloves, but can you get it in there?
That's a really hard angle with all this stuff in the way. Right about there.
Right here. Let me see that. Going back and forth. Now you can see. You want to make sure all that's clear. And that's pretty simple there, but this is what you're chipping away. So you want all this to be smooth.
Show that one piece again.
Okay.
Right there. Perfect. Yeah, we want to reduce those pieces developing in your stove.
So left, right, and right as the ridge. Right in there. Just go ahead and chew all that up. And then at the end, hang with us. Hang with us! Yeah, I'm losing it. This stove is extremely dirty, and I'm going to go through it again and make sure it's absolutely flawless. But this is for you folks. Yeah, I'd like to make it super flawless for all our viewers, but you know, there's only so much time for you to listen to Brett and Briggs. But anyway, you get the general gist. You want to get left, right, and down in. This still needs to be hit some more. We'll get to the last stop and we're going to put this up. Okay, so we're almost done now. And so you can see when you're just use some long sleeves or whatever, and some gloves, because you're going to get excessively dirty. But use that vacuum cleaner. So anyway, I've put the flame deflector back in, and I've put the ash pan back in, and everything in here is really, really clean. And over time, you know, you'll have some discoloration, and if you're concerned about this, take some high heat paint and a little piece of cardboard. You can just kind of touch it up, but make sure you're in a ventilated area if you're going to paint. But you can also paint these back panels and the dial here too, to make it look nicer, like once a year. You could just really take care of your stove. These things are $3,500, $4,500, somewhere in that range, I think, out there, but they're pretty expensive. So anyway, there it is. Hang with us. We've got one more closing thing, and we'll wrap it up.
Hey, thanks for your patience, everyone. And you know what, Dad? Great job. That's definitely a dirty job. Very in-depth, everything. I think they hopefully I think they got it. You really went all out for it on this guy.
Well, I talk a lot, as you know, when you watch us, but I like people to see the real deal. And you know what? You look at the beginning of this video, and then look at the end. Look at this glass. And really, this is what this glass should look like, throughout, a little bit of accumulation. That's fine. But if you keep on it, the glass always looks nice. You see the flame and everything's great. But,
it's a great selling point right there. It's all for the ambiance.
Yeah. It's good.
Just like that.
But this Accentra, we're going to dig into it a little bit deeper, and we've got some other ones, and boy, do we got a super big bonus new stove with some features that are super cool coming up. And we'll do it this June 2024, but here it is. And so hopefully you've learned something. If you have any questions or any ideas, that's great. But I think one thing in closing, when you look at those creosote or carbon deposits, if there is quite a bit in there and you can't scrape it, sand it, you can't get it out of there, one method, and I think it's your last resort really, is removing the stove from your home, take it outside, not around any combustibles, and run the stove on high. And I've seen some people do this to where when this stove runs on high, it gets so hot that it burns all those carbon deposits out of the stove. And I've seen it happen, and it does work. But do caution. It's just an idea if that's your last resort.
All right, sounds good. Well, hopefully this video's been helpful, and we'll see you on the next one.
See ya. Thanks.